where I'm going to run you through the new Sleeptrust sleep map. So if you're watching this, odds are you're having problems with your sleep. You had problems with your sleep, you're a troubled sleeper, you have insomnia for weeks, months, maybe years. And today we're going to do something really interesting and fascinating and helpful, because I'm going to run you through the exact system that you need to know to improve your sleep quality. Like, odds are, if you're watching this, you already did a lot. You tried the sleep tips, you work with sleep hygiene, and things have not been working, or at least they have not been working consistently for you. And the reason is not even that you might be doing the wrong things or that it's not working, that you cannot sleep, but rather that you're not doing the right things in the right sequence. And that's what nobody tells you. But what we're going to walk through today, we're going to focus on the exact 9 steps. This is the Sleep Map, Sleeptrust Sleep Map, an improved version. It's nothing completely new. It's an evolutionary step where I tweaked a few things that were helpful over the years to make it even easier for you to follow this system to see faster results. My name is Michael Hildebrand. I'm your sleep coach here at Sleeptrust. And we at Sleeptrust, we have a mission to help as many people as possible to sleep as good, as fast, and as good as they possibly can, because the issue with sleep is really epidemic. It's a massive problem. Millions and millions and millions of people in the US alone have problems with their sleep, and it's the major contributor for our mental and physical health. So there are a lot of good reasons to really focus on this topic. And now what we're going to do today is I'm going to run you through each of these 9 steps, giving you clarity around what you need to focus on right now, because there will be steps where you say, okay, like Michael, I get it. I'm fine with that. I'm doing this. But odds are there will also be things where you say, oh my God, I never really did that. And you want to focus on these aspects, and you want to do it in the sequence that I'm going to run you through. So let's get started right away with the very first step that you can see. Here it is. It's goal, right? So the number one thing that you want to do once you get clear on that you will want to improve your sleep is that you need to set a goal for yourself. And so let's start off with what is not a goal. A goal is not to say, I want to sleep better, I want to sleep again. That's too vague. Like, for some of you, if you say that, you might have pictures in your mind how that will look for you, but a lot of you don't. And I know that. And we need to give our minds, our brains, our bodies, our unconscious minds a clear picture of what that means. How are you going to feel? What are you going to do? How is that good sleep going to look for you? And how are you going to measure your progress? So it's majorly important to start here, to take your time. Won't take too long. It's something that most people skip. Most people won't tell you. If you go to the sleep doctor or somewhere else, odds are this step is going to be skipped. But you want to have a very clear understanding where you move, because it's with using a navigation system in your car. If you want to drive to a destination, you need to be very clear on that destination. If you say something like, I want to drive to a city, where are you going to land? How are you going to program your navigating system? You need to know if you want to go to Denver, to Florida, or wherever you want to go, right? San Francisco, you need to put that destination into your navigation system. So the first thing you want to do is to be very clear on your goal. So check. Let's check that box here. We're going to run through all of these steps, and I'm going to check them off. If I could, tech issue, I've got my iPad here, and I'm going to do it. I'm just going to hold it into the camera, and that's going to work exactly as good. So number 1, you can see that. Check off the box as soon as you are clear on your goal. Number 2, let's move on. Step number 2 here, accountability. So another major aspect that you need to bring into your life, especially if you're suffering from bad sleep for weeks or months or years, over longer periods of time, is that you need to measure what's going on. And there are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, you need to get a good understanding where you're truly moving. So it's very easy to say I've got bad sleep. We know that, right? And I know how it is. I've suffered from insomnia myself, pain-induced horrible time, low energy levels, and everything that goes with it. But our brains trick us. We don't really know what's going on. Like, how much sleep, how many hours of sleep am I getting? How much did I get the last 7 days, 14 days? We need to get that bigger picture. What's going on? How's my sleep quality every single day? How are things that I do, like if you've been implementing sleep tips and sleep hygiene and whatever, how are these things working for you? You want to get a clear understanding of what's going on, like where are you moving? And that's the second thing, are the things that you're doing working? And especially if we're not feeling good, we need to have that on a sheet of paper or something that will really give you an objective picture of what's going on. Because it's very easy to get a wrong picture just because we're experiencing a bad day. But the bigger picture, like if we see what's going on for 7 days, that is not a lie, or over 14 days or longer. Then you see that you're making progress, or you can see that things are not working and you just kick them out. But like, odds are you want to do more of what's working, less of what isn't. And if we don't start to measure, if we don't stick to the accountability aspect, being accountable to what we're really doing, what results we're seeing, odds are we're going to kick out things that could be working for us, and we might be doing stuff that has no meaningful result for us at all. So accountability, very important step number 2. And also, like, it's these basic things most people won't tell you, right? You get this or that or sleeping pill or whatever, but to track what's going on, majorly important. Also, if we're talking about, and we're going to move into that aspect too, what we actually want to do, we need to track these things, right? So step number 3, assessment. So what's the thing about the assessment here? The assessment is going deep on where we're actually standing with our sleep. Some of you might have a very clear understanding what's going on. Others might not, and it's always worth thinking about it and actually writing these things down. So you really want to go deep when it comes to where your sleep is moving. What's the condition? Where did it start, your sleep problem? Situations where sleep got better, like some of you might experience bad sleep at times, and at other times you sleep good. You want to get a very good understanding about your personal situation, because only if we have that, if we have a clear assessment, are there things inside of us holding us back? Like our unconscious mind, we've got limiting beliefs, and they might be included in all of this package, and we want to really tackle that and figure out where are we moving. Because only if we've got that right, we can dive in and understand the root cause of your sleep problems. It's not a one-fit-all here, as you know. We all know that. And to find the right things that you should do, you need to understand what your root cause is. And only then can you find the right things. Only then can somebody help you, like in a coaching session. There's no chance I can help you if I don't understand where your sleep problems are caused through primarily. There might be a lot of things, but there's always mostly one major issue, and we want to tackle that first, right? If we want to see fast results, we need to have a good understanding where we're standing. So doing an assessment, very, very important. And also step 3. So once you've got that, you can check off the box. And this here is also known as the foundation, right? It's the foundation. So we need to tackle and build that foundation. Most people skip it. We want to save time. We want to do a sleep tip, do something that works for us. But if we don't have these things in place, we're just going to waste our energy, time, and it's not worth it. And overall, if you follow these 3 steps, it's a very clear process, right? You just move through your goal, start to be accountable, measure things, and do an assessment. Okay, so once we've got this done, we're moving towards the next level. Now we're starting to practice things. We need to tackle things. And the very first thing that we're going to move through is, and there are always 3 things. That's the 3 steps following here. Body, nutrition, mind. Body, nutrition, mind. These are the three areas that we can and will and want to work on. So starting off with the body, and the reason is our bodies are so powerful. And you can imagine this like, this is a little like one of these little shaky snow globes, right? And if we're having a hard time to fall asleep, it's a very confusing process. We cannot see clear. It's all like as if somebody's shaking this thing constantly. But what we need for sleep is that the snow falls down and we get that clear sight again. And using our body, you can imagine this to be like a switch where you can put on the gravity. Very powerful process. So our body has the sympathetic nervous system, which activates stress, can conflict with our sleep. We've got the parasympathetic nervous system, which is there for relaxation. There are techniques to get our body to dive into the parasympathetic nervous system. There are a lot of things we can do, not only exercise, but also playing around with temperature, breathing, a lot of things that can really help us to switch that gravity and make change happen fast. So body, very powerful point and aspect. You want to figure out what can you do, what resonates with you that might help you, and especially if you believe that something in your body is keeping you from falling asleep, to move on. Now, once you've got that in check, the next step here is nutrition. Nutrition is obviously something that feeds our body, feeds our minds. So it's kind of right in between our body and our mind, the nutrition. And that just some supplements that are good for our body, right? When it comes to sleep. Magnesium, stress, iron, other things. So you want to check in these, and even more important, and you should focus on that, that's your diet. Like there are just foods that are not good for sleep. Coffee is probably one that comes to mind right away, but there are other foods too. There are foods that actually promote sleep. So there are things you want to tackle and figure out and see if it resonates with you. Very important. Once you've got that clear, like you've checked your body, you might say like, and look, all of these things depend on your assessment, right? And that's why it's so important to do the things in the right sequence. Because only if you know what's causing your insomnia primarily, you can pick and focus on the right things when it comes to practicing things. There's no sense in focusing on your nutrition if you've got a healthy diet, right? Like at least it's not going to be your major aspect. You might need to focus on your mind or your body first. So these things are all interconnected. Once you start, and that's kind of like if we look at nutrition, once you start to do things, some things have a very fast impact, like the body that can deliver immediate results. You might feel it right away. Nutrition might take some time. You might need to change things or supplement yourself for a few days or 2 weeks until you see results. So you need to measure things. You need to stay accountable. Otherwise, you're not going to know. And you think it's not working. And it might be. So these steps are no coincidence. They're a very clear, proven path. They're derived from a lot of smart people, smarter people than me for sure. And I just blended these things and put them into this sequence to help people like you, and I was in the past, who really have struggles with their sleep to find back to superb sleep quickly. And by the way, you are going to be able to download this sleep map. You can get it for free. I'm going to share how you can get this later on. But I want you to have a version for free so that you can do these checkpoints for yourself after you put in a little bit of effort to check in on the content as I'm going to walking you through here right now. So, okay, nutrition checked off. Now, last point here is our mind, right? Our mind's super powerful. Can be a major contributor not only to stress, but also to not sleeping well. And there are a lot of tools and techniques that we want to dive in here, starting off with checking in if there are limiting beliefs and tackling and overcoming them. There might be a reason where some part of you doesn't want you to fall asleep. And that might seem completely unreasonable to you listening to this, or you might say, oh yeah, that's something that absolutely resonates with me. And that's what I mean with there's no one fits all here, right? You need to figure out what helps you. And there are tools, a lot of good tools when it comes to our mind to really prepare us for a good night of sleep, to prepare us to de-stress over the course of the day, to do things like meditation or other tools and techniques that help us to bring our minds on our sides. Sleep anxiety, a lot of things like have touch points to our body potentially, but also major touch points in our mind. So we really want to dive in here and you want to check in. Is it my mind that's keeping me from falling asleep? And if yes, do something and focus on these things, meditations or other techniques that will help you to tackle that specific problem that you identified. So once we gained a little bit of experience, and this middle section is all about practice, right? Just colored it here, practice. Once we got a good feeling of what's going on and what's helping us and what might not be so helpful, we want to focus on our habits. Like that's the next step. And the reason for this is, and I'm sure like probably all of us have experienced this in the past. We start something, and now let's say it worked. In the best case, it worked. And we're having a hard time to follow through on it because changing our habits can be hard, especially if we do it in the wrong way. But good news, there are books and books and books and tools and techniques that help us to implement habits in the right way, following how nature has us wired, our brains wired, our bodies wired to implement new change. So there are things like trigger, building ease or friction. There's just a cycle of how to build habits, and you really want to get strong on that. So if you're not sure how you want to build a habit, check in on this topic. Learn how to build a habit to make it easier for you to consistently do the things you want to do. And be clear, let's really be clear here. This is not a willpower game. There's always a little aspect of willpower, but it's doing things in the right way. And people who know these tricks and who use them, either by learning them consciously through books or through just doing them right unconsciously, have an easy way to implement new things. You know, these people that just run through and say, oh, I'm going to do that. Tomorrow I'm going to stop smoking, or tomorrow I'm going to start doing this. There are these people out there that are just like crushing it. And the reason is, if you look at the patterns, how they build up new habits, they follow these important steps. Typically, it's 4 steps. You can check in on those. But if you're not sure how to build habits, and if you've experienced that it's hard for you to do things that you know are good for you, or that you want to test consistently, then check in on habits. So once you're sure that you did that, big check here. And by the way, in future YouTube lives that I'm going to plan, I'm going to run through all of these steps and help you out to give you a little bit more understanding of what you want to specifically do, what you need to specifically know to tackle these steps. So when it comes to the habits, we can run through the habit cycle, and I'm going to help you to design a habit in a way that really makes it easy for you to follow through, so that you're going to be the pro that others are going to look to say, oh my God, you're crushing it. Like, it's so easy for you to do these things. Yeah, sure. So, okay, next step. Excuse me. Next step, rituals. Oh yeah. Rituals. A zip of water here. Ritual is super powerful. So once we get an understanding of what would be important for us to do to make us sleep better consistently, we know how to create habits. What we're talking about now is rituals. So we need a plan, typically how we want to start our mornings. That's where we bring the changes in, no matter if we're talking about our body, nutrition, mind. Most powerful way to implement this is mostly in the morning or at nighttime before we go to bed. Last hour, first hour, last hour, most important aspects to focus on. And we want to build strong rituals. So here, it's all about creating a plan for you. How do I individually, idiosyncratically, need to start my days to prepare for a good night? Because a resting night of sleep starts with a day well spent, and a day well spent starts with a day started on the right foot. So how are you going to start your days? How are you going to end your days? First hour, last hour, super important. Plan and design a ritual. You know how to build habits now. Plan and design your rituals and live them. Because at some point, these things, and if you look at good sleepers, they just have things that promote their sleep, and they're doing them regularly, unconsciously, on autopilot. And that's what we're doing here. We're building rituals. That's your way to make sure, that's your insurance, your sleep insurance. You're not leaving it up to coincidence. You can do that if you have a good sleep, no worries, all is good. But if you need to change things, you need to really consciously design how your mornings should look, how your evenings should look, and do it in a way that really suits your personal needs. Talking about your assessment again, right? What's at the core of your sleeping problems? These things are all sticking together, and I hope that's my intention for this session here today, that you can see how important it is not only to do the right things, but to do them in the right sequence. So after we've got that, we're going to move on to the very last step, which is mastered. Mastered is, to make it very clear, like you could say mastered, you've achieved that goal once you sleep well. For me, mastered is more, and I wish you to kind of understand that point too, as a lifelong learning process. We're never exonerated from thinking about how we can improve things. That's growth. Life is growth, right? So mastered is all about this. And the way we do it is very, very simple and straightforward. It's just a reflection exercise. We look at step 2, accountability. We're measuring things, right? We're writing things down so that are working. We've got our rituals. Everything is baked in. And now we're looking at this and asking ourselves, what's working, right? What's working well for us? Oh, that's great. We can celebrate ourselves for that too. Celebration is a very important aspect psychologically. Some of us do that, others don't, and we tend to be very critical with ourselves. So celebrate what's working, identify what's not working. Sometimes we're going to slip. It's not only about things that are per se not working, but sometimes we notice we're slipping. Oh, maybe I drank too much alcohol like the last week, or I slipped when it came to my schedule, or too much stress buildup, or I didn't stick to my diet, or whatever it is for you or me. Learn, is there anything I can improve? And what doesn't work well? And the third step is what can I improve next week, the next days, tomorrow, right now? So it's this constant cycle of improvement that we want to build and make and create we really actually want to build this into our DNA. It should be our second nature to ask, are the things working? What's working? What's not working? What can I improve? So that's mastery. And once you've ingrained that into your life, check. Then I'm going to add, see this little woman, she's sleeping well. That's number 1. But also you will feel much better, right? Smiley here, because once we see that things are working, once we get the system, we have the clarity now, right? Now we see things are working, and we see that we can do this stuff, we can stay consistent, we build our confidence. And this feels so great. So we're clear on what we need to do. We have the confidence now that we can sleep well. And once we slip, and even if we have a bad night or two, doesn't matter, because we know we're going to be back there. We know how to do it now. We've got the confidence that it's just a glitch in our life, and we know how to recover, and we have the trust in ourselves. Confidence, by the way, is, if you look at where it comes from, it comes from Latin, like confidere, and it means intense trust. So confidence means we have intense trust into ourselves, into our capabilities to reap the results. And that's what I wish for you. So to build that confidence, get the sleep map. And as shared before, you can have this sleep map for free. I want you all that watch this video to get this for free, because I know how helpful it is. So you're going to find it if you, I'm going to drop a link underneath this live. I hope that's possible. I'll definitely do. And if you want to get more information around the sleep map, and also potentially if you're looking for support, like I offer coaching support too, you can find that at sleeptrust.eu. You're going to find other free resources like a sleep tracker that will help you to stay accountable. There's a lot of free stuff that's free and valuable stuff, things that really work, are proven to help you improve your sleep quality. So check out sleeptrust.eu and download anything that will help you to sleep better. And yeah, don't forget to download the sleep map for sure and to use it. If you have any questions, reach out to me. You're going to find the email address at sleeptrust.eu too. You can get in touch with me. And yeah, in the next couple of days, stay tuned, days and weeks, I'm going to run through specific steps helping you out. If you have any questions, drop them into the comments. And yeah, with that, I'm going to close this session, this walkthrough. I really hope that you bring this into your life. If you need any help or support, let me know, and looking forward to seeing the future live YouTube sessions here. Until then, have a superb sleep. Bye-bye.